History of the development and dynamics of Islam in this world. The dynamics of Islam, from its initial period of emergence until now, have been recorded in world history. Various important events that took place gave color to the development of people's lives, especially in the spread of Islam. Year 570. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was born in Mecca, a very important and famous city in the Arabian Peninsula at that time. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam came from Bani Hashim, the most noble tribe in the Quraysh tribe that dominated Arab society. The year the Prophet Muhammad was born is known as the Year of the Elephant. Because it coincided with the arrival of an army of elephants led by Abraha, governor of the Hapside kingdom in Yemen, invaded Mecca to destroy the Kaaba and move this religious center to his country. Year 611. Towards the age of 40 years, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was often alone and meditated in Hira cave. On 17 Ramadan 11sh/6th of August 611, the angel Gabriel came and delivered the first revelation from Allah SWT to Muhammad. Read by mentioning the name of your Lord who created, Quran 96:1-5. With the revelation of the first revelation, Muhammad was chosen by Allah as an apostle. Year 615. First migration. The preaching carried out by the Prophet Muhammad received many obstacles from the inhabitants and rulers of Mecca. The atrocities committed against the Muslims prompted the Prophet Muhammad to evacuate his companions out of Mecca. With deep consideration, in the 5th year of his apostleship, the Prophet Muhammad established Abyssinia, Ethiopia, as the country where he emigrated. Year 620 M. In the 10th year of his prophethood, the Prophet Muhammad experienced the Isra Miraj event. Isra is the journey of the Prophet from Masjid al-Haram, Mecca, to Masjid al-Aqsa, Jerusalem. While Miraj is a journey from Masjid al-Aqsa to Sidrat al-Muntaha in the 7th heaven. Isra Miraj occurs continuously in one night accompanied by the angel Gabriel. The essence of Isra Miraj is the prayer order received by the Prophet Muhammad at Sidrat al-Muntaha. Year 620 M. Because the treatment of the Quraysh increasingly cruel to the Muslims in Mecca. Then the Prophet immediately ordered his friends and followers to migrate to Yathrib, which was later called Madinat Rasul. After the Prophet arrived and was accepted by the people of Medina, the Prophet became the leader of the city. He laid the solid foundations of life. Among others, by establishing the Medina Charter for the formation of a new society commonly called the State of Medina.
With the formation of the Medina state, Islam grew stronger.
This year is also called the Year of Hijrah. Early Islamic era. The beginning of the Hijrah date is counted since the Prophet Muhammad migrated to Medina in 622. The determination of the Hijra year was later determined by Caliph Umar on year 638 by hearing the suggestions of the companions of the various proposals that emerged. Umar accepted the proposal of Ali bin Abi Talib, who raised the event of the Prophet's migration from Mecca to Medina as the beginning of the Islamic year. The reason, Hijra is a dividing point between the Mecca and Medina period, and is the greatest momentum of the struggle of the Prophet Muhammad in spreading Islam. Year 624. The climax of the conflict between the Muslims of Medina and the polytheists of Quraysh was marked by the war on 17 Ramadan 2 Hijriah/624 AD, which took place in Wadi Badr, 125 kilometers south of Medina. This war is known as the Battle of Badr. Year 625. The war broke out on Uhud Hill and was called the Uhud War. This war was caused by the desire of revenge for the polytheists of Quraysh Mecca who lost in the Battle of Badr. Initially the Muslim troops managed to make the Quraysh army retreat, but due to the negligence of the Muslim troops, there was a counterattack which trapped the Islamic forces so that Hamza bin Abdul Muttalib, nicknamed the Lion of Allah, was killed. Year 627. The Khandak War or Azab War, Azab, allies, took place in the month of Shawwal 5H/627 AD. This was a war between the Muslims and the Jews who allied themselves with the Quraysh and other tribes to fight the Prophet Muhammad and his followers. This war is called the Khandak War, Khandak, ditch, because it relates to the strategy of the Muslims who dug defensive trenches in the northwestern plains of Medina to hinder the enemy's advance. Year 628. In the month of Zulqa'dah 6H/628 AD, the Muslims and polytheists of Mecca made the Hudaybiyah Agreement. This agreement was made in connection with the prohibition against the entourage of the Prophet entering the city of Mecca for pilgrimage, Hajj, by the Quraysh who thought they would be attacked. After sending each other envoys, finally the Quraysh sent Suhail bin Amr to meet the Prophet and make a peace agreement. The sentence of the agreement was written by Ali bin Abi Talib at the behest of the Prophet. Year 630. The conquest of the city of Mecca, Fath al-Makkah, and the cleansing of the idols around the Kaaba. The Quraysh violated the Hudaybiyah Treaty and helped their allies attack the Muslim allies.
Knowing this, the Prophet Muhammad with 10,000 soldiers went to Mecca. Except for a small resistance from the Ikrimah and Safwan, the Prophet Muhammad saw no difficulty entering the city of Mecca. Islamic forces entered the city of Mecca without violence. All the idols around the Kaaba in Mecca were destroyed. Since the conquest of Mecca was under the rule of the Prophet Muhammad. 632 AD on 10 Ah. The Prophet Muhammad made his last pilgrimage with around 100,000 of his followers. 2 months after performing the pilgrimage, the Prophet fell ill. On 13 Rabiul Awwal 11 Hj. 633 to 642 AD. After the position of Islam in Mecca was getting stronger, Islam began to spread its wings. Islam quickly spread to Persia, Syria, Palestine and Egypt. In 641 the Arab Muslims took control of Egypt. Year 650. At the suggestion of Umar bin Khattab, during the Caliphate of Abu Bakr, the scattered writings of the Quran began to be collected and put together. Abu Bakr commissioned Zayd bin Sabit to collect and Year 650. After the time of al-Khulafa, ar-Rashidin, Muawiyah who came from the Umayyads founded the Umayyad dynasty in Syria. Year 711. The Umayyad Muslim troops under the leadership of Tariq bin Ziyad succeeded in conquering southern Spain. This was the beginning of the conquest of Andalusia. Year 712. Islam began to enter Central Asia, including Bukhara and Samarkand. Year 750. The last Umayyad Caliph of Damascus, Syria, Marwan II, 744–750, lost the battle at the Zab River. This event also marked the end of the Umayyad dynasty and the founding of the Abbasid dynasty with a Year 751. Battle of Atlak in Talas, now included in Kyrgyzstan. The Muslim troops defeated the Chinese army and began to recognize paper from Chinese prisoners of war. In year 756, after the Umayyad rule in Damascus ended, 750 AD, the only remaining member of the Umayyad family, Abdurrahman, managed to escape and cross over to Spain. There he founded the new Umayyad dynasty with the center of power in Córdoba. In 762 Al-Mansur, the second Abbasid ruler, moved the Abbasid capital from Hashemiyah to Baghdad, and made it the center of culture and trade of the Islamic world. Year 800. After expanding the relationship between the Islamic world and the outside world, Muslim merchants began to trade with China. Year the beginning of the conquest of Sicily by the Muslim army.
In 830 Beit al-Hikmah, a scientific institute and center for the translation of Greek works into Arabic, was founded in Baghdad by Caliph al-Ma'mun. In 868 the Tulan dynasty was established in Egypt. In 870 conquest of Malta by Muslim forces. In 909 the Fatimid dynasty with the Ismaili Shiite wing was established in North Africa and Egypt. This dynasty broke away from the Abbasids in Baghdad. 901–961 under Islamic rule, Córdoba became the center of scientific development in Europe. 970 year the Fatimid rulers founded the Al-Azhar Mosque in Cairo. At first, Al-Azhar only functioned as a Jami large mosque, but later became a Jamia university. Al-Azhar University is listed as the oldest university in the world. The beginning of the first copy war conquest period. The Crusades were religious wars between European Christians and Asian Muslims. This war occurred because of the reaction of Christians against Second Crusade period of Muslim reaction. Muslim troops led by Imanuddin Zanji, governor of Mosul, managed to seize Aleppo and Edessa 1144. His son Nur ad-Din Zanji, who succeeded in controlling Damascus 1147, Antioch 1149, and Egypt 1169. 1171–1773 at Sultan Salahuddin al-Ayyubi Saladin took power over Egypt. This was the reign of the Ayyubiyad dynasty, and at the same time marked the end of the Fatimid dynasty. 1187 AD Sultan Salahuddin al-Ayyubi defeated the Crusaders in the Battle of Hattin west of Lake Tiberias, northeast of Jerusalem, and succeeded in seizing control of the city of Jerusalem and liberating Palestine as a whole. Crusade 3. Crusaders under the leadership of Philip II and Richard I captured Acre Jerusalem. Sultan Salahuddin entered into a truce and peace treaty with Richard I. Fourth Crusade. Constantinople was ruled by Baldwin. He became the city's first Romano-Latin king. Islamic forces take Delhi. The Delhi Sultanate existed 1206-1555 as the first Islamic empire in North India, with its king Qutbuddin of the Indian Mamluk dynasty. Year 1217 to 1221 AD Crusade v Muslim troops recaptured the city of Damiette in Egypt 1-1, having previously been controlled by the Crusaders. Years 1228 to 1229 AD Crusade vi. The Crusaders under Frederick to reoccupy Jerusalem. 1250 AD Egypt's Mamluk dynasty was established, with its Sultan Aibak 1-501-57 as its first sultan. 1258 AD The destruction of the Abbasids was caused by several factors, both internal and external. Internal factors include, among other things, unfair competition. Among them several nations gathered in it, especially Arabs, Persians and Turks. Conflicts of Islamic schools of thought that often lead to bloodshed. The emergence of small dynasties that wanted to liberate themselves from the central power of the Abbasids in Baghdad, and the decline in the economy as a result of setbacks in the political field. The external factors were the Crusades, which occurred in several waves, and the presence of the Mongol army under Hulagu Khan who burned the city of Baghdad. 1270 AD Crusaders under the command of Louis took Tunis. Many of the Crusaders fell victim to the bubonic plague, including Ludwig himself. Then, city after city can be recaptured and controlled by Islamic forces. 1291 AD The Crusades ended the period of destruction of the Crusaders. In the Crusades of this period, an Islamic heroine, Sayjar ed-Dur, emerged. He managed to defeat the Crusaders and capture King Louis IX, but freed the French king and allowed him to return to his country. The Turks regained control of Acre Jerusalem. The last Crusader force fell to the Mamluk troops. 1300 AD The Ottoman dynasty was founded in Turkey. The Ottoman dynasty was founded by Utsman, son of Atagral from the Oghuz tribe of the Mongols. Year 1420 to 1437 Eddullah Beg Observatory was founded in Samarkand. This observatory is the best and grandest observatory in the Islamic world, and was widely used by scientists at that time. In 1453 AD, the Ottoman troops succeeded in capturing the city of Constantinople from the hands of the Byzantine rulers. This marked the end of the Byzantine Empire. Constantinople later became the capital of the Ottoman Empire and the new spiritual center of the Islamic world. In 1492 AD Granada, the last Islamic kingdom in Spain, fell into the hands of the Catholic kings, Ferdinand of Aragon and Isabella of Castile. In 1526 AD the Mughal dynasty was founded. This dynasty was founded by Zahiruddin Muhammad Babur I for 8-1530, a descendant of Timur. Lenk from the Mongol ethnic group descendants of Genghis Khan who had converted to Islam. 1609-1614 AD After the Islamic rule in Spain was lost, the Spanish Muslims Moriscos were expelled from Spain. In 1821 AD there was a Chinese Muslim rebellion in the Xinjiang area, China. In 1838-1897 AD Jamaluddin al-Afghani sparked the ideology of pan-Islamism unity of Islamic countries. The Mughal dynasty in India ends. After the arrival of the British, the Mughal Empire came under British influence. Mughal rulers tried to break away from British colonialism, but failed. Eventually, the last Mughal king, Bahadur 1837-1858, was expelled by the British from his court. In 1922, the Ottoman Empire collapsed. In an effort to overthrow Sultan Abdul Hamid 1876-19-2, military groups formed secret committees to overthrow the Sultan. One of its leaders is Mustafa Kemal Ataturk. After the Sultan's power collapsed, Turkey became a republic 19-3 with Mustafa Kemal Ataturk as its first president.